doing my intro and I realize that I am completely muted. Let's redo it. Run it back. Good morning, Wake and Takers. How are we doing? It is Tuesday, October 14th. We're here. Week 7 is upon us. Week 6 is wrapped up with the doubleheader last night. And dude, where's my wide receivers? What the hell is going on with all these injuries? Like, we just can't catch a break. We cannot catch a break. It's not even like it's bad enough to deal with a ton of injuries, but then when you have like the top guys just going down, that's what breaks me down. And really, we're getting into the ugly times between bye weeks and injuries where your start sit decisions and what we go over on Thursdays is going to you're just going to feel gross afterward. You're going to need a shower after every time you set your lineup, just because it's going to be real down and dirty. We're doing our best here as a unit, trying to make it through the fantasy season. If you're coming out unscathed, for the most part, good for you. You got lucky. You're feeling good right now. Good morning, Jamie. How we doing? Welcome in. Hope that you won your week 6 matchups there. There's been a ton going on. It feels like in the NFL, in the fantasy like Twitter world, there's been this huge blow up of like everyone's split right now on the Cam Ward analysis. And I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit because it's just like, I feel like the NFL analysis and the fantasy football analysis, the lines are very blurred. Like there's no true distinction anymore. Before you used to have like your NFL analysts and then you had your fantasy analysts, and they were in 2 different categories. You could go to one or the other depending on what you wanted to hear. Those lines have really just gotten closer and closer and closer and closer. And now the same guys are covering both sides. And it's really hard to distinguish when they're flipping back and forth. And there's just a lot going on right now. There's Scott Connor put out a tweet, a post on X, whatever the hell you want to call it, where he was criticizing Cam Ward for his first 6 weeks. And yes, Cam Ward statistically first 6 weeks bad. And then you have a lot of the film guys. They're like, Ben Kurt, everyone knows that he's been like on Twitch, on social media, just doing breakdowns and trying to do like run the tape and like break down the tape. And obviously like the dude was a backup quarterback for a very like decent amount of time in the NFL. Like he knows how to break down tape. And you have these 2 polarizing ends of the spectrum that we have had battle it out in the fantasy football world for, I don't even know how long, like forever. Forever. You got your eye test guys, your film grinders, and then you have your I don't even watch the games, pure statistics guys. And they all think that they have all the answers. And we're seeing it once again. The fight is coming back around once again. Here we are. And it's always around quarterbacks, it feels. And I don't agree with either end of the spectrum that they're the exclusive, like they are right more often than the other side. I think when it comes to fantasy football now and even NFL analysis, like I said, the lines between determining what a good quarterback is, what a good player is, and a bad player in terms of NFL versus fantasy football, it's becoming one and the same. And so you can't just look at these things, the tape by itself. You can't just look at the statistics by themselves. The data is helpful. The data is a tool. Tape is a tool. They're not the end all be all. So you got to find like bits and pieces from both sides of the aisle. And that's honestly, that's how I take and make my analysis. That's what I look at. I look at data. Data is, it's what I do for work. It's what I like, what makes the most sense to me. I'm a math brained person. So like the data speaks to me, but I enjoy football. I watch football. I played football growing up. I have an understanding of the game as well. And I think that is really the right mix you need to have. You can't just be like just a straight football guy, and then you can't just be like a data only person. Like football is it's such a culmination of both of these things. Like yes, both can help. Both will be right time and time. Like it'll go back and forth between who is right between the film grinders and the data people. So make yourself somewhere in the middle. Like I said, me personally, I feel like I got a pretty good 50-50 split. I watch the games every Sunday. I'm watching Red Zone as much as I can. Sometimes family plans come up and I'm catching games here or there, but for the most part, I'm catching up on highlights. I'm catching up on breakdowns. I'm catching up on all these things watching the game and seeing with my eyes how these players are performing and how they're being used. And then I'm also taking a look at all of the data and using that as well. So that's really what I think is the best in terms of both NFL analysis and fantasy football analysis. Like the both of them are good, but you like I said, they're both tools. They're both tools to use. And you just see, like I said, we've seen it before. We'll always see it a lot, where you just have these people, especially on social media, that want to make a definitive statement. They don't want to write passively. They don't want to be seen wishy-washy. They want to have conviction in what they're saying. So they make it just an ultimate statement. And really everything, like, we all should know by now that the answer's in the middle, and we should all be coming to our own answers. So yes, do I think that Cam Ward has been bad the first 6 weeks? Yes and no. He's had flashes, but he's also had really bad moments. And obviously there's a lot of factors that go into it. Supporting cast, Calvin Ridley not being 100%, terrible coach, terrible play calling, terrible culture has just all been a factor in all of this. So I don't think that it all lies on Cam Ward's shoulders. I don't think that he could be expected to bring this team out of the depths immediately with what he has around him. So I'm reserving judgment overall for now. I do think that he has lots to improve upon, but I still like him as a prospect, and I do think that things will turn around. Little rant over on that. It drives me nuts when we see these just two polarizing sides just going at it, acting like they're the only right ones, when they're both tools. They're both tools. Like, be somewhere in the middle. Use data and use film to make your own conclusions. And if you don't have the time to do that, get information from both sides of everything. Like, it's crazy to sit here and just be, oh, the data's always right, or the film's always right. Like, that's not how it works. That's not how football works. Good morning, Alex. How we doing? Welcome in. Like I said, rant over on the film versus data. You gotta do both. But jumping into the news about, might as well just talk about it now. Brian Callahan, the Tennessee Titans former head coach, now has been fired. The first coach to bite the dust here. And I mean, it's no surprise, really. Callahan's been terrible. He has done nothing but throw his own team under the bus. He's shown that he just doesn't even know the rules to the NFL in his pressers when asked about it. It's been bad. I mean, the only good thing that happened under Brian Callahan is the fact that they got the 101 and they got a quarterback like Cam Ward to hopefully bring them out of the depths of the bottom of the league. But I mean, in his less than 2 years, he's been atrocious. He was calling plays for a while there very poorly. He passed off the gameplay calling, still did horrible, couldn't manage a game to save his life. Like I said, he didn't even know the rules, when to challenge something. So I think we might see a little bit of the typical dead cat bounce that we always see from a team that's down in the gutters. After they fire their coach, the team just feels a little bit more fired up. They feel they step up for the interim coach. Usually, at least for the first couple weeks, we should see that. So hopefully we see some life out of the Tennessee Titans. I'm still not looking to play any of these guys in terms of fantasy football, but maybe 2 weeks from now we can see some type of life and some type of turnaround here, with the morale hopefully turning around in Tennessee. But that is TBD. Jamie, why don't the film guys and number guys just join forces? They don't get enough clicks doing that, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand. It's always one of those things where it's just it's people being saying an absolute statement for the sake of saying an absolute statement without caring about the fact that they know that it's not right. So we're here again. Happy. Good morning. Cheers to you guys drinking your coffee. Alex, you pulled an unlikely W in your league of record to go 4-2. You lost Neighbors, Connor, and Benson, and you're playing Travis Hunter at the flex. Wow. Scattaboo. I was going to say, who did you have? What? And it looks like you had Drake London. Or is it Drake May? Drake May or Drake London? Which Drake? That's awesome though, man. Love to see that. Love to see that. I mean, you guys brought me all of the amazing trade W's. Drake May. Okay, there you go. I mean, he scared us last week with the big W for the Patriots, but the bad fantasy performance. It was like, oh shit. Like, is he actually, like, are we there in fantasy? And we're there. We're there. He's good. He's doing it on the ground. He's doing it in the air. He's looking real good. Jamie, 10-team Dynasty Superflex. Would I sell Danny Dollars for Cam Scattaboo? The other QBs are May, Dart, and yeah. I would definitely do that. I think that the other three guys are very, like, Dart gives you the long-term whatever. May is a long-term guy. Trevor Lawrence is a perfectly fine floor, like QB2 in Superflex for bye weeks when the other two, or like to flip-flop with Dart. So I think I would definitely do that if obviously you're buying high right now, but I think that, I mean, Cam Scattaboo has definitely established himself as a focal point of this offense, especially with Dart. So I think I like that. Because who knows if old dollars turns back to dimes. So I like that, especially in 10-team. That's fine. I like it. Alex, you worked the waiver like a maniac the last 3 weeks to keep things afloat while rookies break out. Yeah, I'm in that boat right now in my main league, and it flopped a little bit on me, but I did go up against the Rico Dowdle team, so that did not help. Rico Dowdle, and it's a league where we still have kickers, and we just changed it to point per yard for the kickers, and I got smacked up by Rico Dowdle and a kicker, even with Lad McConkey coming back, and also Stafford kind of screwed me this week. Expected the big blow up against Baltimore, and it was like no fun there. Going to drop Travis Hunter, yeah, I'm actually gonna. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I'm pretty much out on Travis Hunter at this point. I did a little bit of digging. I also put out a TikTok yesterday where I'm out on 2 wide receivers right now. It's Travis Hunter and Jawan Jennings. I'm out. I'm done. If you got someone that's on the waiver wire that's even close to like a stash or like something better, and you don't need to start a guy like Travis Hunter right now, I'm doing it because it's not pretty. It's not going to get any prettier. It looks like when I'm looking at the data comps. But going to go ahead and pop over to the Monday night reactions. I also, as another note, I did go live on TikTok on Sunday. I know a lot of you guys were saying you're not TikTok people. I get that. I understand that. But trying to build the TikTok and also the player profiler TikTok page up a little bit. So it's probably going to stay over on TikTok for now. But I did the Sunday Throne Room over on TikTok Live, where I gave the immediate breakdown of the Sunday games. No deep dive data to really process. It was just straight box scores and gut check feelings right there. So I'll be doing it again this coming Sunday after the games. Feel free to jump in that. And as always, follow me on Twitter at JOwens_FF and over at TikTok at JOwensFF. Alex, it is a security risk, but I mean, at the end of the day, what do I have that other people don't already? If they really wanted to. So I get it. I hear you. I feel you. Eventually looking to maybe bring it over to the YouTube. Just gotta start building. This is just the bottom floor of me trying to bring it up. I might start making it live on my own YouTube channel if I can't get it on one of these player profiler channels. So more to come on that. But for now, it will stay on TikTok exclusive. Yeah, it is terrible. I can't really argue with you. But yeah, so for the Monday night games, we had two pretty great games yesterday overall. We up first was the Buffalo Atlanta game. Atlanta coming off the bye, and they came out looking strong. They looked real good. I mean, it's hard not to look good when you got Bijan just trucking over people and busting off his first big run of his career. Which feels weird to say, his first big run. He's had plenty of big pass catches, but a big rushing touchdown kicked off Bijan's big night. He had, what did he end up finishing with? 170 yards on the ground, another 68 on the ground. So that is, I mean, what, 238, about 240 yards. That's he he eked out Rico Dowdle in half PPR this week, and I think he eked him out in full PPR as well. So Bijan Robinson, we're making it real interesting here for making it real interesting for the RB1 race between Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and Bijan Robinson. I hope all three of these guys stay healthy because it's going to just be, it's going to be fun to watch this whole time, man. I mean, they're going back and forth, just all of them throwing haymakers here. Drake London had a huge game, which exactly what he does every single time he's out there without Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney always just seems to just be a wet blanket on the Drake London games. But I mean, 16 targets, 10 catches, 158 yards, and a touchdown there too. Happy Hudson. Bijan London saved your dynasty week. Yeah, I think he saved. I think those two saved a ton of people. I mean, those are two guys that, I mean, Bijan's been Bijan, but Drake's been kind of like, he came alive right before the bye, and you were hoping that it was going to continue. We'll see. Darnell Mooney maybe back for week 7, so that might bring Drake London back to earth here. But I mean, even if he just drops a little bit from this, a 27-point game in half PPR, that's fine. That's fine. He doesn't need to be putting up 30-point games every week. Yeah, excited for Mooney now. Definitely excited for Mooney to come back. I called it on Thursday. One of my sits, Kyle Pitts. Buffalo just locks up the tight ends. I don't know what that linebacker room is doing, or if it's the safeties they're putting on these tight ends, but the tight ends just can't get anything going. And Pitts was no different here. Only 3 catches for 18 yards. He's very much just in, Kyle Pitts is very much in that you hope to get a touchdown tight end range. Like it's pretty much just the top 4 guys that are going to be consistent for you, and then everyone else you're just praying for a tight end here. So I mean, that's a good stat trend to realize though. Like I picked up on it last week where it just like there was a mix of like good tight ends and bad tight ends, and Buffalo just shut everybody down. So moving forward, I will be avoiding Buffalo, the Buffalo matchup for my tight ends. On the Buffalo side, another quiet game for James Cook. He still had just the bulk of the carries, so I'm not concerned here. Overall, he went from running touchdown hot to now he is two games in a row now with 0 touchdowns. So that's why you're feeling disappointed. It seems like opposing defenses are really keying in on the fact that Buffalo operates best when they get James Cook going early. So they're trying to shut him down. And it feels crazy to say they're wanting Josh Allen to beat them, but it's not Josh Allen that's the problem. It's this receiving room. That's a problem that is getting even thinner now. Alex, I saw you said it earlier. You think Buffalo's going to go for DJ Moore. With Josh Palmer going out with that ankle injury, I don't doubt it. I mean, that was a hip drop tackle. You know that's not gonna be a quick turnaround injury there. Khalil Shakir 3 for 5 for 33. Keon Coleman 3 for 6 for 11. I apologize for my preseason takes of Keon Coleman. I was riding the hype and expecting the year 2 bounce, and it's not coming. At least I didn't cost you like a huge draft pick. I would love to see DJ Moore move to Buffalo, or just move in general, just because it's not happening in Chicago with DJ Moore. Flipping over to that though, moving over to that second game, the Chicago-Washington game, DJ Moore did end up leaving the game in an ambulance after the game, post-game. He left in an ambulance, went to the hospital as like a precaution is what they're saying. They haven't released any information. Obviously, it's not a game injury, so there's no information that they have to release. But he did leave the game in an ambulance to the hospital. So we're waiting to see what comes out of that. But I definitely agree. I do want to see DJ Moore move. We saw Luther Burden. He went 4 for 4 for 51 yards. He looked good. He had some moves. He had explosiveness. He's looking real fast out there. So I think that it would just be best for everybody, like, to just move on. Like, DJ Moore has had issues with the coaching, not Ben Johnson's coaching staff, but the Chicago coaching staff in general. I'm assuming the Chicago front office in general. And he's had problems with Caleb Williams in his rookie season. So it just seems like he's not fully bought in. He's not there. So it's very much something where I think it would just be mutually beneficial for the Bears to let Burden get more run, let Colston Loveland get more run, and just ship off DJ Moore to get whatever they can. Obviously, as we just said, Buffalo looking for a wide receiver. There's quite a few teams out there now looking for wide receivers. Tampa Bay is without a wide receiver. I highly doubt they bring in DJ Moore unless Chicago keeps all of the contract money for this year. Like they pay for it. So I don't really know where he might end up. I think Pittsburgh is also looking for a wide receiver. So there's a couple of spots that are out there right now that might be interesting. Buffalo would probably be the best one for fantasy football. Also, I mean, wish casting DJ Moore to Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield playing the way he's playing right now. But like I said, they already have two big names under contract. I highly doubt they bring in a third big name. They're just devoid of talent right now due to injury. So we'll see if DJ Moore is on the move here in the next couple weeks. Definitely think that Luther Burden is a good scoop right now after this week. I think everyone's going to be kind of hot on him. But still think it's worth the stash right now with the trade deadline coming up. And the fact that it seems like coming out of the bye, he is going to be a little bit more involved here. But in terms of the game itself, DeAndre Swift was the real story here. I mean, he blew up. He had 175 yards combined, receiving touchdown. He looked really good. He is the bell cow back here. Odunze had a quiet game. He had one touchdown nullified by a penalty. So I'm not worried about it. It's just a blip in the radar where he could have had a very basic floor game that just got erased. So not concerned about Odunze. He's still the target leader alongside DJ Moore on this one. And I think that, like I said, we're gonna see a turn here. On the Washington side, a little bit of a sloppy game here. Yeah, the weather did suck for the passing. So definitely a factor in it all. But Jaden Daniels still looked crisp. He had three passing touchdowns. He did have an interception and a fumble lost, which dampers the fantasy points a little bit there, but still a great game for Jaden Daniels. Just locked and loaded, top 3 quarterback on a weekly basis, even coming back from the injury. Everyone's going to be a little bit down on Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt saying, oh, we got Woody Marks, but we didn't. Woody Marks ended up splitting with Nick Chubb the following week after his blow up, whereas Bill Crosky-Merritt here, the usage was still there. He had, I think it was like 60. I think I saw from like Dwayne McFarland, like 67% of the opportunities. He was very much the focal point of the backfield here. We did see Jeremy McNichols get a little bit of the work later in the game towards like the 2-minute warning time. So I think that it's going to be Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt moving forward, and Washington needs Debo to get healthy or Terry McLaurin to get healthy, because this is another team that is just struggling at the wide receiver position due to injuries. Terry was iffy coming into this week and then was out again. So hopefully we see him come back next week. It's a juicy matchup against Dallas. So would love to see a Terry Debo healthy game with Jaden Daniels here. That would be exciting. And then Zach Ertz doing what Zach Ertz does, just steady Eddie, getting a couple yards, 6 for 6 for 43 yards and a touchdown. He's very much in that category of, if you got to start a tight end, he's a decent start, because Washington's scoring points with Jaden Daniels, and Ertz is a every week touchdown candidate. So you can do worse at the tight end position. Let's see here. We got Smitty. We got start 2 wide receivers, DK, Nico, Rashi. I got to agree with Alex here. I think I'm going to go with Nico and Rashi. Kansas City just looks like Patrick Mahomes is playing out of his mind right now, but he also needs wide receiver help. He's got the ragtag crew of wide receivers that could not stick in their original home with Juju, Hollywood, and Tyquan Thornton. So he's really hurting for Rashi to come back. Travis Kelce isn't quite he isn't able to carry the offense by himself anymore. So I think that Rashi comes back and is going to just be plugged right in as the main target, getting peppered here. And I think you got to go with Nico Collins. I know DK's been having the big games, but it's a little too inconsistent. And I don't fully trust Pittsburgh quite yet here. Let's see. We got Smitty once again. 2 running backs, Monty, Brees, and Henderson are white. You got to go Brees because he's the only Jet standing. I think that volume keeps him in there, and I would go Rashad White's in an interesting spot because he's able to do the pass catching against Detroit, who's a little bit beat up on the defense, but the rushing isn't going to be there. And on the flip side, Monty isn't really. It's a 50-50 with Monty as well. I'd probably go Brees and White there. I think that's just you get the guaranteed volume with those two. Monty could always have a Monty type game where he gets 2 touchdowns, but I don't know if I'm banking on that. If I'm just going based off of like a medium projection where I'm looking for like the safest floor with still some ceiling in there, I go Brees White. Jesse, we got trade Hurts for Lamar, 2 QB league. You have Josh Allen on bye this week. Maybe take the L and get Lamar on bye too, so you don't have to eat Hurts by week 9. No backup QB. I mean, if you want to eat it, just eat it. Like if you're already feeling bad about it, I wouldn't do it just to avoid the bye week, but I think I would take Lamar over Hurts. I think I would take Lamar over Hurts. I mean, they're both top 3, top 4 quarterbacks, pretty much guaranteed as long as they're both healthy. I get it. Philly's offense isn't looking as good, but Hurts is still just doing what he does. He gets the tush push. I mean, we saw it 5 times in a row on Thursday, so it's tough. I think you're fine either way. If you want to avoid the bye, I think that both Lamar and Hurts are going to be fine. Lamar's got the higher ceiling, so I probably go Lamar out just straight up. But that's your call there. It's pretty even. So whatever you're feeling more confident in. Smitty, Pats or Chiefs defense. Who do we got? Who do the Chiefs and the Pats got? Sorry, I have not built out my spreadsheet for week 7 yet. We got the Chiefs versus Las Vegas. I like that. And then we got the Pats versus. Where are the Pats? Am I blind? Against Tennessee. I like both of those. I would probably take the Chiefs because they're at home. Vegas going into Arrowhead doesn't feel great. And like I said, Tennessee might have the dead cat bounce. I don't know what that's really going to show for, but a team always comes out a little bit more fired up when a bad coach gets fired. So I think I'd go Kansas City there. I mean, Geno's still leading the league in interceptions, so you get a lot of plus there. Like I said, Kansas City's at home, so I'm leading Kansas City this week between those two. Thank you, Alex. I was trying to scroll and take a peek, and my eyes weren't working. Maybe that means it's time for another sip of coffee here. But yeah, the Monday night games were entertaining. They were really good. A lot of points scored. So love to see that. Unless you were one of those people that had a big lead going into Monday and then got flipped over and smacked up on by Bijan London or Swift or anyone like that. So a great set of games. Everyone hates on these doubleheaders. I love the doubleheaders, especially when it's like a 7:15, 8:15. I'll take that all day. East Coast over here, so I'll take that all day. I prefer very much the 10 o'clock start where I'm struggling to stay awake to watch a game. Flipping over to the injury news, we do have quite a bit of injury news as you guys saw from the thumbnail. Dude, where's my wide receiver? Ton of injuries on the wide receiver group, including a lot of big names. First up is going to be Puka Nacua. He went down with an ankle injury in the second quarter of the Rams game, but he did come back in the second half, but he didn't get any more catches. He didn't get any more targets. So he very much seemed like he came out as more of a decoy type guy. He's listed right now as day-to-day. I would expect him to miss week 7. The Rams are on a week 8 bye, so it doesn't make sense for them to rush him out there for him to get even more injured to further sprain or twist or tweak that ankle. So I think we see a 1-week break here, and hopefully he comes back in week 9. Obviously, we'll see as the practice reports come out and we see more of the medical team taking a look at the ankle. We'll see the severity of it all, but if they're already listing him day to day, I would expect week 9 to be when Puka comes back. So if you got him, plan to be without him for this week. Devontae Adams clearly steps into that wide receiver 1 role. And in terms of wide receivers, Jordan Whittington stepped up and got the most run once Nakua went down. He did get a lot of slot play, so it's not going to be like the big target stuff, but obviously with no Puka, that opens up a ton of vacated targets for week 7. So I think if you are in a deep league where you need a PPR flex, I think Jordan Whittington is a good spot. I also think that Tyler Higbee is looking like he's back in the driver's seat for the Rams tight end room. And we know that Stafford loves him some Tyler Higbee. So if Higbee is truly back, I think that he becomes an interesting tight end start as well. Just a lot of unknowns right now in the Rams, but what we do know is Adams and Kyren completely safe. And I think Higbee is a good shot at the tight end position if you don't have a guy that you're confident in this week. We got man, I am really lost this. We got the Rams versus Jacksonville. So I think that Higbee would still be a good shot there. I don't think this is going to be a very high scoring game, especially with no Puka, but Jacksonville's a little bit more susceptible on the outside than they are on the run. So could see that play out a little bit here. Another wide receiver injury is going to be Emeka Egbuka. Like we were talking about earlier, just completely lost all of their wide receivers so far. I mean, Mike Evans still coming back from a hamstring injury. Godwin missed last week again and has already been ruled out for week 7 against the Lions here with that fibula soreness. And now Emeka Egbuka joins those 3, the big 3 on the injured list. He also has a hamstring injury, so feels kind of like a week-to-week type deal. We've already seen reports out there that he most likely won't be back until after the week 10 bye. So it sucks. Egbuka has been lighting the league on fire as a rookie here, working with Baker, just absolutely propelling Baker into MVP conversations. And now that's been ripped away too. Up next is going to be Tez Johnson, who got the most snaps following Egbuka's injury. So Tez Johnson, another deep sleeper, deep league type guy that you can plug in, because I mean, we saw it Sunday night. The Lions secondary is beat to hell right now. It's an interesting spot where I think that Tez Johnson is a very high ceiling, and I think he's going to have a floor with no other options there. I think Tez Johnson's going to have a good floor. So Tez Johnson is someone that I will be firing up in leagues where I need a flex play. And really, another guy that we saw ruled out for week 7 as well, Bucky Irving, has also been ruled out. So another week of Rachaad White, and we get to see which of these wide receivers steps up in the absence of Egbuka, Godwin, Evans. Sterling Shepard's still there. We saw his snap share decrease quite a bit this week. And then, Cameron Johnson kind of was the 1-for-1 replacement for Egbuka, going out there and kind of running in that in that position, in that role. I think with a week of game planning, though, it's going to shift more towards Tez, because the game plan was feed Egbuka. So obviously it's similar to what we saw with the Chiefs when Xavier Worthy went down immediately. Hollywood Brown got plugged into the Xavier Worthy position. And so we're looking at it now where Cameron Johnson got plugged into the Egbuka position last week in the middle of the game. So the game plan was still feed the Egbuka position. So it helped Cameron Johnson there. But with a week of game planning and with the weakness of the Detroit secondary being just completely banged up right now, and Brian Branch being suspended, I think that Tez Johnson has a big game in store right now. So that's where I think that's kind of where you got to go in Tampa right now. Baker's playing too good to just not take a shot here if you need a wide receiver. So I think Tez Johnson is a good snag here. And if you want to play it safe, Sterling Shepard should see his snap share go back up, and he's a very dependable target. And another tight end that's kind of just going to take advantage here of the absence of a stud wide receiver. It's going to be Kate Otten, who's seen a little bit more stability in the targets here. Ceiling is there with touchdowns, and that's about it. He's not going to be a big yardage guy. George C., good morning. You're 2-4. Is it worth it to trade Jefferson and Javonte Williams for CeeDee Lamb and Saquon? Jefferson just went out of his bye, so it's not like you're gaining too much. CeeDee should be back maybe this week, maybe next week. Saquon is is a little bit down right now. I think overall that's a win for you, but at the same time, you're also going from missing Jefferson this past week to maybe not having Lamb this week. So you could be shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. I'm not sure where exactly we're at with CeeDee Lamb. So I think you're getting the better players with CeeDee and Saquon. So if you don't mind risking it with Lamb this week, if you have a viable plug-in, I think I would go ahead and do that. I think Javante's been really good, but that Dallas offensive line is still hurting. And so we're seeing the efficiency kind of come down a bit. And the only thing that's saving him right now is the fact that it's the volume. And I think that kind of shifts back towards Lamb once he comes back. And Saquon, like, yes, I think he's on a bad streak right now, but I think that's just Philadelphia in general. So I'd probably do that, but it's risky. It is still very risky, and you're 2-4, so it's not like you can take the biggest of risks. But if you're looking for something to just jumpstart the team, hopefully Lamb comes back, and that would help you here. Even more wide receiver injury news: Calvin Ridley went out with a hamstring injury. He tricked all of us with the big game last week. Over 100 yards, and he comes here, he gets one catch and has a hamstring injury. So probably out a couple weeks here as hamstring injuries typically do. In his absence, like I said, I'm expecting a little bit of a dead cat bounce. And if you need a volume-driven wide receiver flex because you are just truly desperate, Alec Menor is where I'm going. He was getting volume even with Calvin Ridley healthy. He seems to have the best connection with Cam Ward. So that's where I'm going, but I don't want to do that if I don't have to. Garrett Wilson, another wide receiver injury, hyperextended his knee over in London. The reports are right now that he is expected to miss a couple of weeks, and that's a problem. The Jets already have a problem in the fact that they can't win a damn game. So we're here. We are struggling in Jetland, and now we're struggling even more with no Garrett Wilson. Before, it was pretty much you start Fields and hope for garbage time. You start Brees and hope for garbage time, and you start Garrett Wilson and hope for garbage time. Now we're taking Wilson away. So I think Brees is still startable. Fields, I mean, the ceiling is still there. The 30-point ceiling is still there. Obviously, this was probably not the matchup. I wasn't sure. I didn't expect a close game, so there was no garbage time for Fields to take advantage of. The defense was locked in the whole time for Denver. So I do think that you still start Fields, but it's not a must start after seeing this performance, after seeing him not break 100 yards passing. So I still roll with Fields in a matchup where I think there's going to be garbage time, and I'm rolling with Brees because who else do they have? Mason Taylor, I think, yes, he only had one target this week, but Garrett Wilson finished the week out, so it's not like it was a game plan type thing where now it's another situation where I think Mason Taylor has to step up, and I think he's going to get peppered with targets here. They might be empty calorie, but at the tight end position, that's fine. You're not getting a big touchdown possibility here with him. You're just kind of hoping for a ton of targets. So more of a PPR tight end, in my opinion, with Mason Taylor. Josh Reynolds and Tyler Johnson are going to be the next guys up in terms of wide receivers while Wilson is out. And no, thank you. Moving on. Marvin Harrison Jr., once again, a wide receiver injury. Marvin Harrison Jr. left the game with a concussion. So tough to say that he's on track to miss or anything. You just have to watch and see how he progresses through the concussion protocol. We've seen guys like Alec Pierce miss 2 weeks. We've seen some guys come back the next week. He left early in the game, so hopefully he's able to progress a little bit quickly, but you never know. Trey McBride, easy mode start here. Obviously, you're starting him no matter what, but you're feeling pretty good and confident with if Marvin Harrison does miss this week, regardless of who's at quarterback. And then Zay Jones is kind of who stepped in as the Marv replacement. He logged 79% of the snaps. I'm not really looking to go out and grab Zay Jones. Again, it's a concussion. It's not a long-term injury. So if we do get news that Marv is out, or if he's not progressing through the concussion protocol, I think Zay Jones, you can do worse out there. So it's a bad matchup. So I'm not, unless I'm absolutely desperate, I'm not. I'm just leaning on McBride here in terms of Arizona. Finally flipping away from the wide receiver injuries, we got a tight end injury as well. Don't really know the severity of it quite yet. Doesn't seem like too much concern, but David Njoku did suffer a knee injury. If he does miss time, Harold Fandon Jr. is a big-time tight end start because Cleveland and Dylan Gabriel love their tight ends. And so the wide receivers just aren't really separating themselves. Judy had all the targets this week. Bond had all the targets last week. And it just doesn't matter with Dylan Gabriel. He's not pushing the ball. Literally does not push the ball past 10 or 15 yards. He had 6 completions behind the line of scrimmage, which is more than he had down the field, which is really, really, really gross. Plus, Cleveland gets the Miami Dolphins in week 7, and we've seen what running backs are doing to the Miami Dolphins. So I don't think that the game plan is going to be keep the ball with Dylan Gabriel. I think it's going to be, here, Dylan, hand this to Kinshawn Judkins and let him run. But if Njoku does miss this week or misses time in general, I think Fannon's a great pickup and a great start in the tight end landscape. He was a little bit hot early in the season. He cooled down as Cleveland kind of cooled down. Not that they were hot, but they've cooled even cooler than they were before. But if Njoku does miss time, Fannon is going to be a solid tight end play. So feel free to grab him if he was dropped out there and start him if you're tight end needy. That's all that I think I got for the news. I think I covered everything. We're 40 minutes in, so I don't know why I'm acting like I could be missing something here. Jonathan Santiago, would I trade Wandale for Zay Flowers? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Zay Flowers, yes. 2 bad, disappointing weeks. But Cooper Rush was the quarterback for those 2 bad, disappointing weeks. We're supposed to be getting Lamar Jackson back after the bye, so obviously you're eating a week of a 0. But I would hope that Wandale was not one of your top wide receiver options. I think this is a great trade for you. I think Wandale had the big touchdown, but we also saw the previous week that sometimes the passing from Dart can be a little bit inconsistent. And I think that's just going to be the roller coaster of Jackson, Dart, and the New York Giants that we see all for the rest of the year. So I would absolutely trade Wandale Robinson for Zay Flowers. Thank you for the question. I'm going to be going into the week 6 breakdown. I did play in there was a free pick 6 super slam on fast draft, and I entered that, and I also did a flex 6 frenzy draft. And I don't know what it is, but every time that I pick one of these stud wide receivers and plug them into my 2x spot, they get hurt. I picked Puka in both of these, and he got hurt. So I'm going to go ahead and by Thursday, I'll try to have my flex 6 frenzy draft done for you guys. And I'll let you know who I'm putting in my 2x spot. So you can just go ahead and make sure that guy is protected, or just, trade him away, or don't start him, or whatever you got to do. Whoever I'm putting in my 2x is most likely getting hurt here. So, but still love the flex 6 frenzy, still love fast draft, just because it's quick, it's fun. And like I said, the player pods have gone from 10 players to 8 players in the flex 6 frenzy. So really been enjoying that. It was a lot quicker. It was the point totals were higher. Mine weren't because of the injury to Puka, but the point totals in general were higher. So I love seeing points rack up like that. If you are going to go ahead and jump in the fast draft streets, use code JOwensFF to get a $50 deposit match. And I'll go ahead and toss it over to the Podfather to talk more on the Flex 6 Frenzy.
I know your sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops. Because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun. And as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Yes. Get in those fast draft streets. They are a blast. I'm telling you, I have a fun every time. Dude, sweet. But moving on to the week 6 breakdowns here. Going to go ahead and go back over my espresso shot. Finally hit another one. Here we are, week 6. And I hit 2. I hit 2 so far. I'm 2-3 because I missed a week. But I called for Jameson Williams to be a top 15 wide receiver. Count it. Last I saw, he was wide receiver 13 on the week. He got the big touchdown. He scored a touchdown, and that's exactly what I was calling here for the Detroit Lions. in terms of when you can start guys like Laporta or Jameson Williams or David Montgomery. Like, they're a little bit unpredictable. They're a little bit tougher to get a feel out, but it's 100% in the world where if the Detroit Lions, I said it on Thursday when I made this call. Let me just confirm that Jameson's top 15 before I get a little ahead of myself here. Yeah, top 13. I called it before on Thursday that with Jameson Williams in particular, or even David Montgomery, you have to check what the game flow looks like. This game looked like Detroit was the underdog, a high over under. It looks like a game where they're going to have to be pushing the ball and they're not going to be able to just run and take the air out of it. That sets up for a JMO game. We haven't seen a lot of that from the Detroit Lions. Like I said, week 1, throughout week 1, doesn't count. We didn't run any, and there was nothing run well on week 1 for the Lions. So just out of your mind, every game after that, it's just been blowout. So I think that the theory that I have on Jameson is the way to move forward with it, where it's competitive games, you play JMO, where if it looks like it's a game that's getting out of hand, you play David Montgomery. And that's it. Sam Laporta is looking a lot more consistent now. He's getting the targets. He's gotten the 2 touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. So that's clearly kind of propelling him there. But with the way that Detroit's scoring, I feel like you can't turn away from Laporta. You'll just have to eat the low floor games of like 5-6 points. That's fine. But yeah, Waymo espresso shot hit, and it hit real early, and it felt real good. Jonathan, can I keep guessing the JMO correctly because I never know when he's going to boom or bust? Hey, stick with me on Thursdays. I'll have a JMO update every Thursday for you guys of yes or no. I don't have to make it a big whole segment. I'll do a little quickie in there for you guys of yes or no. But yeah, so outside of the Jameson Williams big touchdown, there wasn't really a whole lot going for the Detroit Lions here. They went down early and they just couldn't really get the run game established, which really sets up the rest of the offense. So we saw Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 catches feels good, 45 yards feels bad. I said it on Thursday. The Kansas City Chiefs, they do a good job of taking away your top target. They might not be able to be the defense that's shutting down teams as a whole, but they will take away your top option. And that's what they did with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Gibbs, 17 for 65, no touchdown, no breakaway runs. He had a couple where he looked like he might break it, but just couldn't quite get past that second and third layer as much as we like to see here. And then David Montgomery had 24 yards on the ground, 37 yards in the air. So just kind of very middling game. Sam Laporta, like I said, 2 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. So you keep plugging him in on a weekly basis. He's in that top 6 to 7 range on a weekly basis, just because, again, Detroit scores so much, you can't shy away from it. On the Kansas City side, Patrick Mahomes is playing out of his damn mind again. I mean, he needs to. Like I said, he can't lean on the defense like he did last season, and the running game is just non-existent. Pacheco and Hunt and Brashad Smith are just none of them. Not one of them can get anything going where they become the hot hand. It's just 3 sets of 6 cold hands in the Kansas City backfield, and Mahomes is just taking upon himself. He's still, I'm pretty sure, the leading rusher. He put up another 30-something yards, 32 yards on the ground, so that's 4 out of 6 games on the season where Mahomes has rushed over 30 yards. So he is absolutely getting it done. He's locked in as a top 3, top 4 quarterback on a weekly basis. He doesn't have the big rushing yardage possibility, but I mean, he still has 4 games with a rushing touchdown, 4 games over 30 rushing yards. So he's still able to get it done. He's just a lot more tactical with it in the red zone. So I think that Mahomes is like I said, top 3, top 4 quarterback on a weekly basis, especially with Rashee Rice coming back. It's only going to get better from here. He's going full Thanos mode on us again, where the record isn't there, so the chip on the shoulder is there, and a Kansas City Chiefs team with the chip on the shoulder is scary. Mahomes with the chip on his shoulder is scary, and we're seeing it right now. So keep riding Mahomes. If you held on to Rashee Rice this long, or you pried him out of the desperate drafted manager's hands, congratulations, you're about to be paid off a lot. It's very clear that they need Rashee Rice back. Even Xavier Worthy just hurt. He's playing hurt right now, so it's very clear. It's very, very clear that Worthy is playing hurt. Hollywood Brown had 4 catches, 45 yards, and 2 touchdowns, so he looked like he had a good week. But like I said, Rashee Rice is coming in, and he's going to relegate all of these guys one step lower. So really, I'm only looking to start Rashee Rice, and I'm probably not doing much with Worthy as long as he's banged up right now. Not looking to start any of these running backs, and Kelsey you stick with because, again, tight end's gross, and this guy's just consistently getting targets, and he's a touchdown. He's only got 2 touchdowns on the year, but we know that he's a big red zone threat. So stick with Kelsey, stick with Worthy once he's a little bit healthier, and then Rashee Rice is the way to go here. And that was the Kansas City Detroit game that broke my heart on Sunday night as I was doing my Throne Room live recap. I had to take many a break to look down at the screen and sob a little bit and then come back and act like everything was fine. But we're going to flip from the Sunday night game to the Thursday night game, which was actually entertaining and actually fun, except for the fact that my Survivor Pick'em League died with the Eagles here. I thought there's no shot that the Eagles lose 2 in a row. Boy, was I wrong. It's very clear that Cam Scatterbo is not letting go of this job. Tyrone Tracy did come back. Obviously, usually a guy comes back from a shoulder injury. He's not going to get a full complement of snaps, but Tyrone Tracy was out there 32% of snaps, but he only got 14% of opportunities. Scatterbo, 74% of snaps and 68% of the opportunities. And that just shows you that Scatterbo is definitely a very much the identity of this offense. Him and Jackson Dart, their reckless abandon running the ball is very much the identity of the New York Giants right now, especially without Malik Neighbors. They just don't really have anything other than riding the vibes of these 2 crazy ass dudes. So you got to keep riding with Scatterbo. No matter what, doesn't matter the matchup. He's going to get the volume that can help overcome that. And he's very much a touchdown threat. We saw it this week, 3 touchdowns against Philadelphia. So keep riding with Scatterbo. But I will say, if Tyrone Tracy gets dropped this week because of the low usage, I would scoop him up. I think his snaps go up a little bit, and I think his opportunities go up a little bit moving forward in the next week or two, mostly at the detriment of Devin Singletary rather than Cam Scatterbo. So I don't think that this really knocks Scatterbo down in my rankings at all, but I think that Tracy gets worked back in a little bit here, and the way that Scatterbo runs, he seeks contact. It's very clear that he is not looking to get down, get out of bounds, or anything like that. He is running head first into these brick walls that are defensive lines and linebackers. So you got to think that increases injury risk just a little bit. And if there is an injury, you got to think the severity would be a little bit higher if you're actively seeking the contact on a regular basis. So I would stash Tyrone Tracy because if anything were to happen to Scatterbo, I think Tyrone Tracy steps right in and he becomes the 60% guy, and Singletary comes back as like more of like a 35 to 40% guy. I don't think Tracy is going to be as effective as Scatterbo because, again, Scatterbo is just riding the vibes of the identity of this team, whereas Tracy is not as good of a running back, but it's still a good pass catcher. So I think that it's not wouldn't be a 1-for-1 replacement, but I think it would still be. I think Tracy's a premium stash right now. Fantasy Condo, good morning. Cheers to you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants game. Is now a good time to get out on Saquon Barkley? I know that there was that trade question earlier where I was okay with getting Saquon Barkley, but I think right now, if you can still get top value because it's Saquon Barkley and people are riding the hopium that Philadelphia fully turned it around, I think I would look to trade him. I would look to, if you can, like I said, if you can still get like a top caliber wide receiver or running back out there, just based on Saquon's name value, I would shop him. I would start shopping him. The offense is just a problem in Philadelphia. I thought this would be a get right week after losing to Denver, and now they lose to New York. Like, the offense is clearly the problem. The defense isn't doing him any favors, but the defense is also dealing with more injuries. So I think right now, let me know what you guys think in the chat. But if you have Saquon Barkley right now, are you just holding and hoping, or are you trying to make a move right now? Because I don't have Saquon anywhere, so it's tough for me to put myself in those shoes. But just my gut feeling says I would be looking to shop right now and see what I can get. Obviously, you're not going to get like a Bijan anymore. You're not going to get a Christian McCaffrey anymore. You're not going to get these like top 5 guys, but you might be able to get like a secondary type guy, like I'm trying to even think of who I would be targeting. Like, can't get a James Cook, maybe like a Genty, maybe try to get a Genty because of the offense that he's on. Yeah, maybe like I don't even want Derrick Henry because I think he's still struggling, but you could get like a combo pick there for Saquon, and that's probably what I would try to do. But you'd be selling low, but you might not be selling at the floor, is all I'm saying right now. The Eagles, like I said, could not get anything going. 17 points for them. We saw the big miss to Devonta Smith, wide open. All Hurts had to do was put it on him. He didn't have to float it. He just had to put it on him, and he scored. AJ Brown, another okay game, 6 catches, 80 yards. So it's not like he's out there not doing anything. It's not like he's not getting targeted. But the big story was Dallas Goedert, 9 catches on 11 targets for 110 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert is having the weirdest season ever. He's having very much like a Mark Andrews after Isaiah likely got hurt season, where it's like you're just sitting there and all of a sudden he blows up and you're like, what the hell, dude? Like, this wasn't supposed to be your game. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I guess it's Dallas Goedert. So he's definitely one of those guys where you plug him in because he's just been he's been finding the end zone nonstop, and you can't shy away from that he's clearly the plan in the red zone. So keep riding the Goddard train if you're on him. It's tough to watch that 21-point game on your bench if you did bench him. Not going to talk about it a whole lot because there's not a whole lot to talk about here, but the Denver Broncos at the New York Jets, they went over to London, and we sent our absolute worst game over there to London. So sorry across the pond, but this was disgusting football being played on both sides. Denver looked bad too. Denver defense looked good. Denver offense looked bad. What should have been a plus matchup, what should have been a big J.K. Dobbins, even R.J. Harvey type game was just nothing. Dobbins still the primary back in these close games. That's how it's going to be. It's going to be, they trust Dobbins the most, so it's going to continue to be Dobbins. Unless it's a blowout, R.J. Harvey's not going to get enough work to be usable right now. Quiet game across the board for the wide receivers, but I think, like I said, I think this is just a throwaway game. It's a London game. Not much you can really do about it. The touchdown goes to Nate Adkins. So gross. Evan Ingram, though, another week. Still riding at about like 40 to 50% snap share. So not great, but the targets are there. I mean, 766 in the past 3 weeks. They're bumping up. So again, another guy that you hope that the Broncos turn it around. And with bye weeks and everything coming up and injuries, Ingram might not be the worst that you can do, but he's just not quite doing enough where I'm excited to go scoop him. But if he's been dropped, I've seen him dropped in a ton of my leagues. So if he's out there, maybe worth a shot. If you need a tight end fill. For the Jets, on the flip side, Justin Fields, like I said, 45 passing yards on 17 attempts, 9 completions. It was old school Justin Fields that we saw with the Chicago Bears, where he held on to the ball way too long. He obviously the number 1 sack defense in the NFL, and they added 9 sacks on top of their already league leading total. So Fields helped them pad those stats quite a bit, and he looked bad. He looked real bad. Aaron Glenn already came out and was asked if he will be the starter for next week, and it seems like he's just riding with Justin Fields for better for worse. Jets are going to get a top pick here. I mean, 0-6, and it doesn't seem like they're getting any relief soon. Breece Hall, like I said, volume. 22 carries, nothing to it, but again, bad matchup. So not really deterred from going back to Breece Hall because we still see garbage time from him consistently. And with Garrett Wilson out, where else are they going to fucking go? Andrew Beck, the fullback, got a carry. Isaiah Davis, 2 carries and a target. So four opportunities outside of Breece. sticking with that. Like I said, not touching Josh Reynolds or Tyler Johnson with the 10-foot pole. Mason Taylor, weird one target game. I think that bounces back out of necessity. I don't know if we see 12 targets again, but I think we see a lot more than one. I think we're going to be in the 7 to 8 range consistently with Mason Taylor. So that gives him a little bit of a floor here. But like I said, ceiling, not really there. For whatever reason, my graphic disappeared on it, but the Rams Baltimore game, another game I'm not going to spend too much time on. We already talked about Puka going down. Really the only guy who performed on offense was Kyren Williams, which that's the Rams offense right there is Kyren Williams when it's not Puka and Adams. We saw that again. Like I said, Jordan Whittington did get the most snaps once Puka did go down. Didn't get hyper targeted, but I think that's just more of the fact that like they didn't really need to do a whole lot. Stafford definitely gets downgraded from a close to weekly start to being more of a matchup based stream for this week. And I'm not looking to start him against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been kind of up and down in terms of what they're allowing quarterbacks to do. And there's no rushing upside with Stafford, and your passing upside is very much capped with Puka out as well. So I'm looking at Adams, I'm looking at Kyrie, and I'm looking at Higbee here for the Rams moving forward. On the Baltimore side, thank God they get the bye for Lamar Jackson to fully heal up. Derrick Henry got fed, but he still only played about 50% of the snaps. So it was good to see that they knew what they had to do because Cooper Rush wasn't doing anything. So we saw Henry get fed the 24 carries. He had a 100-yard game, so he didn't kill you, but it's still just not the Derrick Henry that you're hoping for. With Lamar back and a juicy 3-week stretch coming out of the bye, like I said, they get Chicago, they get Miami, and they get Minnesota out of the bye. So those are 3 great matchups for Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens in general to get back on track. They're very much still in the AFC North race. I know that Pittsburgh is up high right now. They're sitting at 4-1 and they're feeling good, but that feels very fragile. That feels very fragile, and the Bengals are flopping and floundering too. So I think that Baltimore is very much in it, and they're going to come out of this bye hungry to get back in it. And like I said, they got 3 good matchups here for them to really set themselves back up. I think Zay Flowers comes back and is a startable fantasy asset once Lamar Jackson is back. Isaiah Likely did come back, but again, there's nothing to really see here until we get Lamar back in week 8. Flipping over to where did it go? I lost it. The Dallas Cowboys at the Carolina Panthers. We once again had Rico smash, baby. Oh my God. He was so close to back-to-back RB1 weeks here. Bijan barely snuck by him there to steal the RB1 spot for week 6 here. But Rico Dowdle, we got to talk about it because what's going to happen when Chuba comes back? Chuba was out there before this game warming up. He wasn't in full practice. He wasn't listed as a full participant or even like a limited participant for the most part. So I don't know where he is in terms of coming back, but even if he does, I got to think that there's at least a 50-50 split here. I mean, I get it. It was 2 juicy matchups for Rico, but it's one thing to have a juicy matchup and have a good game. And it's another thing to have 2 back-to-back 200-yard performances for a running back. Like, that's insanity right there. Rico Dowdle went absolutely ham sandwich on his former team, and he told them to buckle up. He felt slighted from not getting signed back after a good year last year. And I mean, he showed them, and he's showing the Carolina Panthers. He gave them the spark that they've been desperately looking for. So I think that Rico is going to be a flex-worthy player moving forward. I don't even doubt that when Chuba comes back, it's even a 60-40 split towards Rico, just because it's the hot hand. Like, obviously, we could see Rico and Chuba out there. Rico gets the start, has a couple bad drives, and then they put Chuba back in, and then we go back to a 50-50, a 60-40 back to Chuba. We could very much see that happen within the course of 1 week. But right now, with the information we have, I'm riding the hot hand along with what I expect Carolina to do, and that's to ride Rico right now. It's going to be interesting to see, but I definitely think that that's how it's going to work. They get the Jets next week, and that's another pretty good matchup for running backs here. We've seen pass catching backs do well against the Jets. We saw Achane have a good game against the Jets. So very much think that we see another good game out of Rico. Obviously, if Chuba's back, I'm not predicting a third 30-point game, but crazier things have happened in the NFL. Am I right? Another Carolina Panther, like I said, the spark has ignited for Carolina. Maybe this is the turn. Maybe this is Bryce Young getting his confidence back. We saw it last season where it took a long time. It took a benching for him to get his confidence, but Teteroa McMillan, baby. I've been calling for it. I feel like I talk about him ad nauseum. I talk about him every single week. The targets are there. The targets are there. The targets are there. The yardage is there. The touchdowns will come. And they came, but it was kind of weird. It was like the flip-flop. I've been saying targets, yardage. And this week he gets 3 targets, or is it 4 targets? 3 or 4 targets, but he catches 2 of them for touchdowns. So two touchdowns. So we're seeing the duality of Teteroa McMillan. He has both abilities. He has the ability to consistently be between the 20s, catching the ball, moving the chains. And he also has the touchdown red zone and 10 zone ability where he caught 2 touchdowns. So now I just want to see these 2 hands. I want to see the consistent targets. I want to see the touchdowns. And I want to see this. I want to see this out of the Carolina Panthers, because that will be just the ascension of T-Mac, and it'll be my saving grace here. Like I said, it was his lowest targets on the season, but Bryce Young didn't throw the ball that much in general. It was still 20% of the target share for Carolina. So it's not like he was forgotten. It was just, they didn't have to throw the ball a lot when Rico's running all over the Dallas Cowboys. So like I said, let's take these 2 hands, let's put them together, and let's do a quick cheer for Teteroa McMillan and hope that we see the full blow up come here in the coming weeks. On the flip side, for the Dallas Cowboys, Dak's balling right now. I don't care what anyone says. Dak is back up there, top 3 in terms of air yards, top 3 in terms of pass attempts, completions, yards in general. He is doing what he needs to do. Obviously, the results aren't there for Dallas, so they're calling for his head right now, but it's not on Dak right now. Dak is doing great. George Pickens is filling in epically for CeeDee Lamb in the wide receiver 1 chair. So like I said, we're expecting Lamb back in the next week or so, in the next week or 2. And I think Dak's already been able to perform well for fantasy without CeeDee. So with CeeDee back, it's just going to be a whole new level. Dak's going to be an absolute smash on a weekly basis, because this defense is terrible. They are the number 1 shootout team that I love to play against. I love to have players on there. I've been trying to get Pickens for a little bit with Lamb coming back. I wanted him, but that door is slammed shut after this week. So that's not going to be happening. But I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a very exciting, consolidated team here with CeeDee, Pickens, Javonte, Ferguson. Those 4 guys, there's enough there to eat for all of them. And they will continue to eat. Moving on, we had the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sorry, is that where I'm at? That's where I'm at. Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Seattle Seahawks. We had I completely lost my place there. Sorry, had a complete brain fart there. Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Seattle Seahawks. Another quiet ETN week, which I talked about on Thursday. I expected a quiet ETN week. And I think we've fully hit the buy low window on ETN. It's just kind of the way that the offense has been going. They like to run with the lead, but obviously they haven't had the lead the past couple weeks. They've been in very competitive games. So I think the flip side of that right now is showing where they're letting Lawrence air it out more, obviously. And that has forced BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. to resurge here. He is back. He's on the same page. He found the book that Trevor Lawrence was reading, because apparently they were just reading 2 completely different books. They had no idea what they were doing together. There was 0 cohesion, 0 chemistry there, but it's back. It's here. 10 targets for BTJ, caught 8 of them for 90 yards and a touchdown. There was another bomb touchdown, like a 50-yarder that got erased because of a Travis Hunter offsides penalty. So could have been an even bigger week for Brian Thomas. He is back. If you held on or if you were buying low on him, that's another W for you. congratulations. I think that is what we're going to see more of moving forward. Speaking of Travis Hunter, I'm out. I was talking about it earlier, but I'm absolutely out. I was doing a deep dive into the data, and I was looking at right now, Travis Hunter is at about a 16% target share. It might have gone up a little bit with this last game, but he's around like 15 to 18%. So I took a look at wide receivers that have less than a 20% target share and an ADOT around that 8.8 ADOT that he is at right now. And it's not pretty. The list of names I got here, there's only about 7 guys here that I have. The top is Jaden Reed this is all from 2024 data. The top is Jaden Reed from 2024, who finished as the wide receiver 26 overall, which was great. But he was only the wide receiver 38 in terms of fantasy points per game. Not good. The bottom of that list is, we're looking at guys like Pop Douglas, Deebo Samuel, Ray McLeod, Devon Vele, Marvin Mims, Olamide Zaccheaus. These are bottom of the barrel roster clogging guys that you don't want on your team. And that's what Travis Hunter is this year. I still think that he's going to be great for Dynasty. I think that the rhetoric that we've heard around him is that he is learning one wide receiver position at a time. And right now, the position he's learning is the slot. The F. That's all he's learning. And that's just where he's going to be stuck. If all we're getting is this ADOT nonsense right now, it's not a guy that I want on my roster. We were told last week we're going to take more deep shots to Travis Hunter, and then we're sitting here and I'm calling you a damn liar. Because like I said, the ADOT 8.8 is not cutting it. That's bad. That's lower than mid-range tight ends. And you can't have that low of an ADOT with less than 20% target share. That does not equal fantasy points. That doesn't equal a guy that I want on my fantasy team. If he is able to bump his target share up to a 20 to 20, what was it, 24%? 25. I did the parameters 20 to 25%. With that low ADOT, and he could look like Stephon Diggs with the Houston Texans last year. He didn't play enough games to qualify for a fantasy ranking. But the other 2 guys on that list that are kind of like the full range, if Hunter is able to get into like a 20 to 25% target share range, Jackson Smith-Njigba, love to see that from 2024. Finished as wide receiver 10, wide receiver 17 points per game. If he can turn into Jackson Smith-Njigba from last year, I don't think it's going to happen because Seattle was throwing the ball a lot more than Jacksonville is. And then the other comp was Khalil Shakir, which I think is kind of more where that's going to be Travis Hunter's middle to ceiling play here is going to be Khalil Shakir, who finished as wide receiver 38 last year, wide receiver 33 in terms of fantasy points per game. So if he is able to turn it around and start getting more and more targets and get into a 20 to 23% target share, I think that we could see wide receiver 3 numbers out of Travis Hunter, but the floor is right now Olamide Zaccheaus from 2024. I don't want that. I don't want that on my roster. Obviously, it's slim pickings out there in a lot of leagues because of all the injuries. So you might not have a better option, but he's not touching my lineup at all. I'm fully comfortable dropping him. Everyone's holding on because of draft capital. Let go of your priors, let go of it. You can't hold on to this guy right now. On the Seattle side, not a whole lot to talk about. It's just the same old shit, different day in Seattle. Darnold looks good. He's just peppering JSN with targets, another 13 for JSN, 162 yards and a touchdown. That's what it is. And then the running backs, same old, 50-50 split for God knows what reason. We're not seeing either of these guys step up. And like I said, unless you get a touchdown from one of these guys, you're pissed. So that continues to be what Seattle is, and that's what they were this week. So not much to talk about there. Flipping over to, we had the Chargers and the Miami Dolphins, and that was an interesting game. That was an entertaining game for NFL purposes. Tua and the Dolphins looked like hot doo-doo for a lot of it. The only saving grace was Devon Achane just absolutely erupting here. 128 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then another 4 catches for 22 yards in the air. I mean, the Miami is the same exact way, where you start your Achane, you start your Waddle, and you start your Waller. It was weird to see Waller have a low target game, but I mean, the 3rd straight game with a touchdown, so This team is going to have to score. The defense is bad again. So Miami has to put up points, and Waller is very clearly a red zone target of Tua, and a very, I still think we're going to see his snaps and his role continue to expand out of necessity here. So I'm sticking with Achane. I'm sticking with Waddle. I'm sticking with Waller here. On the Chargers side, we did see Quentin Johnston out. He was ruled out on Sunday. So Ladd McConkey, 2 games in a row now, heating up a little bit here. 2 games in a row with a touchdown. 2 games in a row where he was among the leaders of targets. So I think that we're starting to see McConkey flip back here. I think this is what we expected. I think that once Quentin Johnston comes back, we go back into a little bit of a roulette where it's whoever catches the touchdown you're happy with between McConkey, Allen, and Johnston. But while Johnston is recovering, McConkey is just an absolute smash. He's one of Herbert's top targets. Herbert had a good game again. Not as much running, but he didn't really have to run this week. And then we had the whole debate last week. Kamani Vidal, Hassan Haskins. I told you. Kamani Vidal was the guy. He is the hot hand right now. We've seen with Michael Carter. We've seen with Woody Marks. We've seen these situations where the backups come in and one guy blows up, and then the next week he gets benched. So I wouldn't say that Vidal is locked and loaded for the rest of the season, but he at least gets the next crack at it next week. And he is, if I am starting a Chargers running back, he is definitely the one that I'm looking for here. 18 carries, 124 yards, and then 4 targets with 14 yards and a touchdown in the air. That's, like I said, he's got the 3-bag skill set. He is, I get it. He was the healthy scratch when Hampton and Najee were healthy, but Haskins has his role, and it's as the grinder, and Vidal just can do it all. Vidal is more versatile, and I think that's what Harbaugh wants out there with Herbert being the focal point of the offense. He needs someone that can complement him in all phases. So I think Vidal gets a chance here. Like I said, the Chargers did call around and are asking for running backs that are available. So keep an eye out on that. But right now, Vidal seems to be in the driver's seat. Let's see if he holds on to it. That's who I'm banking on. If he is still out there, he needs to be your top waiver priority. He is still only 46% rostered on Sleeper. So if he's still sitting out there, that's your top fab dump. That's your top waiver claim right there, is Kamani Vidal, because Omarion Hampton might not be back after those first 4 weeks. There's reports that he is missing longer than the original 4 weeks reported. Not good to hear a timeline change with an injury. That means the more that they looked at it, the more that the swelling went down, the more severe it looked. So not good news for Omarion Hampton. So keep an eye on the Chargers. They might make a move. Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara. Both guys have said they want to stay, but who knows? Who knows what we see here? So ride Vidal while he's there. Ride Vidal while he's got the hot hand, but don't expect stability out there right now. Gonna go to like I said, some of these didn't load up for me here, but going to the Arizona Cardinals and the Indianapolis Colts. We talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. leaving with a concussion and Zay Jones stepping up in that role. That's where I'm looking. Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback this week with Kyler Murray being injured. They go in and play Green Bay next week, so it could be a tough one, but I think it might be better if Brissett's out there because Brissett's more of the pocket passer, quick get out. It's better there to have that than an injured Kyler Murray who can't scramble. In terms of the running backs, Bam Knight led this backfield, kind of. Bam Knight got the most carries, but Michael Carter had the 5 targets, so it's a pure 50-50 split here. Bam looks better because he got the touchdown, but I'm not really looking at either of these guys moving forward as long as they're in a 50-50 split, and we might see DeMarcado left with an injury. If he comes back, it could still just be a 30-30-30 split. Really, Trey McBride is the guy here as long as Marvin Harrison is out. If Marv's back, I'll still play him. Indianapolis, Danny Dimes got another rushing touchdown, so you felt real good there. Jonathan Taylor doing Jonathan Taylor things. 123 on the ground and a touchdown and another 4 catches in the air. So running back 1 on pace. The interesting part with Indianapolis is, once again, Josh Downs leading this team in targets outside, or leading the wide receivers in targets. We're kind of seeing a shift here where they're running more 3 wide receiver sets, which gets Josh Downs on the field more. And when he's on the field, he's getting targeted. So the snap share is still low. It's still around 50% for Downs, but we've seen back-to-back weeks now where Downs is leading the wide receivers in targets. So it's interesting. He's doing great things with them. 42 yards and a touchdown on 6 catches for Downs. So it'll be, I think it's just going to be inconsistent here in the receiver room. We saw Pittman come out strong, looked like he was going to be the top dog here, and now we're kind of seeing it flip back towards Downs when he's on the field. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on, I think the matchup is going to dictate, again, closer games. We'll see more of the 3 wide receiver sets. When Indianapolis is blowing a team out, they're going to stick more to the 2 wide receiver sets, keep the tight end in, and let Jonathan Taylor run. So I think this is another similar to Detroit, where you see more game flow dependency out of Josh Downs and his production. So I'll have a segment for JMO Watch and Josh Downs Watch now, moving forward on the Thursday show. Jamie, Brissett had a better game than Tyler since week 8 last season. Yeah, Kyler's always been the run and gun type guy, and it has not gelled with this team. And Brissett just knows where to pick his spots. I mean, he threw the ball 44 times. So I think that he is more efficient for this offense. He's more decisive for this offense and helps the guys get to their spots, especially if Marv is missing some time. I think he's really going to be the guy that just kind of gets people to their spots. Moving on to the New Orleans game, not a whole lot here other than Drake May is that dude. Like I said, he had the quiet fantasy game against Buffalo. It was a great NFL game for him. Went into Buffalo, got the dub. That's huge for a guy like May who's trying to get himself established here. But 3 passing touchdowns, 261 passing yards, and 9 more carries for 28 more yards. He had it on a 2-point conversion there to kind of pad the stats fantasy-wise. That was great. We're also kind of looking at this is another very similar to Buffalo, very similar team setup right now between Buffalo and New England, where they're playing wide receiver roulette out there. They're playing pass catcher roulette out there. This week it happened to be Kayshon Boutte, 5 for 5 on his targets for 93 yards and caught 2 of the touchdowns. So obviously a huge week here. He's probably my number 2 wide receiver that I'm looking here if I'm looking for a flex play, but I'm still sticking with Diggs. Obviously a quiet week after the 200-point weeks doesn't feel good, but Diggs is going to be the most consistent one here. Boutte had completely disappeared, but in terms of snap count, Boutte is he's been leading the wide receivers in snap share on the season. So he's clearly seeing the field the most. So if you're going with anyone outside of Diggs, it's got to be Boutte. Hunter Henry, you're just, again, hoping for a touchdown there. And the New England running back situation is disgusting. Travion Henderson, only a 30% game snap share with the game in hand. And even Ramondre had a bad week. I told you to start him. That was a mistake. New Orleans is good against those running backs up the middle, so probably should have taken that over. I expected more volume to kind of help Ramondre, and it just didn't happen. It was all Drake May. So I'm avoiding both of these running backs right now unless we're in a positive matchup. I think I'm just sticking with Drake May and Stephon Diggs here, and Hunter Henry were needed. New Orleans, same old. More empty targets for Olave. He's a PPR floor play only, really. Like it's so hard to see a ceiling. He's not the big play wide receiver. That's Rashid Shaheed. They're not in the red zone enough. It's gross. So you hope Olave gets traded, and I just don't see that with the New Orleans Saints. They don't seem to be in rebuild mode for whatever reason. So really gross there. Alex, Hunter Henry is worrying you. Yeah, I think it's very much Buffalo vibes where it's just inconsistency across all of the pass catchers. It's just if your guy catches a touchdown, which, I mean, to be fair, a lot of tight ends right now, that's the name of the game. If they catch a touchdown, you're happy. If they don't, you're pissed. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Moving right along, though, I am running out of time here, and we still got quite a bit of games to go through. Cleveland-Pittsburgh, that's a nice one that we don't have to talk too much about. Cleveland-Pittsburgh, Dylan Gabriel threw the ball 52 times. Gross. We already talked about Njoku. If he misses time, Harold Fannin, great pickup and plug immediately. The wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, 13 targets. But again, Dylan Gabriel's not pushing the ball downfield enough to make his target count mean anything. On the flip side, I told y'all, bench Jaylen Warren, wide receiver 25, was a crazy number to have him at. Only 11 carries for 52 yards and another 2 catches. Weirdly enough, Kenneth Gainwell, 6 targets here. Didn't really understand that one. I figured Warren was going to be more of the pass catching guy and they were going to ram Gainwell up the middle, but they kind of flip-flopped that on us. It might have just been because the game wasn't really a close one. It wasn't really competitive. So we will see there. DK Metcalf had another big game, 9 targets, 95 yards, and a touchdown. If we start to see the ADOT consistently stay at those deeper targets, DK Metcalf you got to lock him in as like a wide receiver 2-3 play. I'm not fully there yet because the consistency isn't quite there, but we'll see. And I'm not touching any of these tight ends for Pittsburgh. No. We got Vegas and Tennessee. Vegas is still, both of these teams are very much close to untouchable in fantasy football. Tennessee, like I said, if you need a desperation flex play based on volume, Alec Ayumanor is who I'm going for. And maybe stash Tyjae Spears while he gets worked in. We'll see how the new play caller, how the new coach wants to use him and Pollard. But for right now, full avoid on Tennessee outside of, like I said, desperation play on Ayumanor. On the Vegas side, Geno Smith still bad through another pick this week. Really, this offense is Ashton Genty and Ashton Genty only. I do think that Michael Mayer is a good tight end fill-in while Bowers is out. 5 for 7 targets. The role is there. The offense is already built around the tight end. And again, Mayer is not a scrub. He's not like some nobody. It was a round 2 tight end. So he's very much usable. He's very much a good player. He just got overshadowed by Brock Bowers coming in. So with Bowers out, Mayer is a fine start at the tight end position. And start your defenses against these two teams because it's just easy money. Bouncing down to the Cincinnati at Green Bay game, we saw life out of the passing game in Cincinnati. Joe Flacco, I told you guys, everyone was shitting on Joe Flacco in this trade. They're like, oh, doesn't mean anything, not going to help. I beg to differ. And we saw here 12 targets for Jamar Chase, 94 yards and a touchdown. Joe knows. The Joes, they knows to goes to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We see 20 targets here for those two guys. And I think T. Higgins with Joe Flacco is back. He is back to a startable range. He's clearly not back to back end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2 range, but he is very much in wide receiver 2 to 3 flex worthy play on a weekly basis now with Joe Flacco. They're not going to be playing Green Bay with Micah Parsons on a weekly basis. So Flacco will get more than 0.2 seconds to throw the ball. Mike Gesicki did go down with I think it was pectoral injury. So keep an eye on Noah Fant. They did bring him in this season. He is still getting worked in with the mess that is Cincinnati. So keep an eye on that. Tanner Hudson did see more targets, but I do think that Noah Fant is the higher upside play here, but not really anyone I'm looking for outside of maybe a DFS cheap tight end on FanDuel or DraftKings type situation. Green Bay is Green Bay. Josh Jacobs will take over in these easy matchups here like he did. 93 and 2 touchdowns on the ground with 57 yards in the air. And here we are again, Green Bay, spin the wheel. Let's play pass catcher roulette. And this week it was Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden, three catches on 5 targets for 86 yards. Dobbs is going to consistently lead this team in targets, and I don't care. It doesn't matter. Romeo Dobbs is Romeo Dobbs. He's a dude who's out there. Tucker Kraft, you have to start on a weekly basis because he only got 2 targets, and you see that and you're like, why would he be a must start? And it's because of what he can do with the ball in his hands. 2 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown. This dude dove from the 4-yard line with 4 guys in his way and still found his way into the end zone. And that's just Tucker Kraft. At the tight end position, you need to do it because he's got these blow up games in his bag where we saw week 2, 21 points. And we saw here another touchdown where he's at 11 points. You're going to have to eat some bad games here and there, but that's the tight end position outside of your top 4. So I'd rather start the guy that can have a blow up game than a guy that has to really stretch to have a blow up game. San Francisco versus Tampa Bay was the battle of the hospital rooms. These teams are just destroyed by injuries in general, and it's showing right now. CMC is CMC. Another 25 opportunities here. Mac Jones was the quarterback again. He is playing injured, but still, 350 yards in the air. No touchdowns though, so he threw 2 picks instead. So not a whole lot of points, but Kendrick Bourne right now is very much a must flex, must start wide receiver as long as Mac Jones is the quarterback and we don't have a Jawan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall out there to take targets away. George Kittle is coming back, like I said at the top of the show. George Kittle expected back next week. So your Jake Tongs can go bye-bye. Kendrick Bourne will see a dip in his targets, but he's still playing well enough to flex, in my opinion. Like I said, as long as Pearsall and Jennings remain out, you got to go with them. And I get it. Jennings played, but did he really? The dude's playing through like 5 injuries right now. Jawan Jennings is another guy like Travis Hunter that I'm okay kicking to the curb. He was out there the most with the wide receivers. He was the second highest snap leader for the wide receivers in San Francisco, and he only got 3 targets, caught 1 for 7 yards. He's not there. He's trying to force it right now because the team needs him, and he's trying to like prove and get that incentive contract, but he's not there. So I'm okay dropping Jawan Jennings until he shows something on the field. Tampa Bay, we already talked about the whole Emeka Egbuka situation in the wide receiver room in general, and Bucky Irving. So not much to cover with Tampa. Fire up Baker Mayfield on a weekly basis. It doesn't matter. The dude just gets it done. And Rachaad White gets at least one more week here of pure volume-driven fantasy relevance. So stick with Rachaad White if you got him. Stick with Baker Mayfield, and then pray for your pass catchers here. Covered Detroit, Kansas City already, and covered the Monday night game. So that is what I got for the Week 6 review here. I'm going to be flipping back over on Thursday, as we always do, to our start sits. I appreciate you guys joining me here today. As always, be sure to follow the Player Profiler Now YouTube page. That's where you are right now if you're watching on YouTube. That's where I will be every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here for Wake and Take. I'm putting a lot more content out there on Twitter and TikTok right now. You can follow me on Twitter at @JOwens_FF, over on TikTok at JOwensFF. And I will be doing my Sunday live in the throne room, going over the immediate reactions there on Sundays over on TikTok. So be sure to join me there. I'm going to bring in the Player Profiler page on TikTok as well. And like I said, once I start to get my feet underneath me and get things established, I will look to bring that over here on YouTube as well. But for now, that'll remain on TikTok. Appreciate you guys always, Alex, Jamie, Happy, Fantasy Condo. Appreciate you guys stopping in. I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch you guys on Thursday.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.